Okay, I need your participation too. So, everybody think, how many of you guys have seen Batman? Raise your hand. Okay, most of you guys. Okay, now you guys all know what Gotham City is, right? Okay, now how many of you guys know what Gotham City is or what it means? Nobody? Okay, cool. Okay, so Gotham City, Alexander Bazek, author of the book New York, says in 2009 that a Gothamite is a New York native or inhabitant of New York City. The nickname was popularized by Washington Irving and others. So that's how Gotham, you get it? Gotham City, it's from New York. Well, you guys can all spread the word around. Okay, so I went to New York this summer and I absolutely loved it. There's so many cool stuff in there. So I'm going to tell you guys a couple of cool stuff I saw around New York. And today I'm going to talk about the history, some buildings I visited, and how the people are like, what's the culture like over there. And so let's begin. New York is one of the most important states in our country, and it holds many memories, such as 9/11. It has amazing lifestyles. I mean, if you're rich, you should definitely live there. Okay, it was founded, let's go to our first point. It was founded in 1524, and it has changed drastically since it was founded. New York didn't always call it wasn't always named New York. It was named New Netherlands when the Netherlands when they first came to land. Anne Henricks wrote in her book, New York, that Giovanni d'Aravanzo was the first European to reach New York. He was an Italian navigator hired by the King of France to go and explore new land. And in 1524, he sailed to what is known as New York now. So here's a couple of pictures. Let's go to, okay, now all of you guys know what July 4th, 1776 is, right? It's the Declaration of Independence and it was signed. How many of you guys know what July 9th is? Okay. July 9th, it's when New Yorkers met in New York to approve the Declaration of Independence. Signing it was one thing, but approving it was a totally different thing. And most of the battles were taken in New York. The Statue of Liberty was a gift from France in 1886. It's so tall. It's 150 feet from the base to the torch, and 350 feet with a pedestal and foundation. And so it's huge. The Depression was also a huge impact in New York. Nick Taylor said that in the LA Times that on October 29th, 1929, the Dow Jones fell, and losing 23%, that means $8 to $9 billion were lost that day. And that was just the beginning. And here it shows how many people lined up for blocks and blocks, like around the buildings, to just line up for a plate of food. And if you guys have never been to New York, a building is probably like the size of this building. So I mean, picture everybody lining up in this building just for a plate of food. It was pretty big. The World Trade Center, everybody knows about that. Here, you can't really see it, but here's like a plane going into it. So I thought that was pretty cool. It fell on 9/11. It has been a decade since such tragedy. Reed Johnson said in the LA Times that it has had such impact on everybody, such as the television shows are now like talking about it. How many of you guys see Rescue Me? Okay. One of the characters he has like a huge mental breakdown because he has like demons inside of him because of the 9/11, because he's lost so many friends. Okay, now let's talk about the buildings. The buildings are everything, mostly in Manhattan. When I went to New York, I thought New York was like all buildings. Unfortunately, it wasn't like that. It was only in Manhattan, so it's just an island. New York is a whole other thing. The Rockefeller Center is one of the biggest centers, well, it's a plaza actually. When I there. You have history there. Actually, it was named after John D. Rockefeller. He wanted it to be where the business formated themselves and where they like congregated and talked and stuff. Brooke K. Steiny said that at the Rockefeller website, on the Rockefeller website, that John D. Rockefeller fell for a while in the Great Depression, but he came back in the 80s. And as you see here, it has the NBC studio there, the radio city there too. It's where they also have like the ice skating rink. I went in the summer, but usually this is all covered in ice in the winter, and they can go skating there. This is M&M's to cover the NBC sign, and it's pretty big. It's really cool. And then it's really a nice plaza. Yeah. Let's move on to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. If you guys like art, definitely go there. I'm not a big fan of it, but my dad was, so he made us go there. It's really interesting. It has so much information of the history of our era, but different eras. Alexander Basek wrote in his book that the Metropolitan Museum of Art was founded in April 13, 1870. It is located in the city of New York for the purpose of establishing, maintaining, and of encouraging the developing of the study of the fine arts and application of the arts manufactured to the practical life. It's located right next to Central Park. So, I mean, it's a pretty nice museum to those who like art. Times Square. Times Square was probably my favorite place. If you guys have ever been to Vegas, Times Square is not compared to Vegas. It's probably like 10 times bigger than Vegas. It is so big. You can see, you walk into some place and then it's like something else. I walked into this thing called Toys R Us. I don't know why they call it Toys R Us. It was something bigger than Toys R Us. They have a not a roller coaster there, a Ferris wheel in there. It's so big, it's so cool. 9.7 people visit the Times Square per year. And in the same book of Alexander Pasek, I don't think he really liked it because he said a cacophony of flashing lights, honking horns, and of shoulder-to-shoulder crowds that many New Yorkers seriously avoid. And I mean, it is pretty crowded, but I mean, if you like the city life, you like busy life, you should definitely go there. Okay, now the culture. The culture is very, very different. People are known there for being the hardest, the priciest, the most outspoken people, and pushing. And well, I mean, if you had to pay $1.8 million for your apartment, I'm pretty sure it would be stuck up to you, you know? But here's a picture of an apartment place in Manhattan and in Brooklyn. An average apartment cost $444,000 per month. In Manhattan, I mean, to buy an apartment, it's 28 million. James Nutherland said that it takes a lot of energy to stand on a street corner in Manhattan, just because there's so many great people. But whether it's $1 million apartment, an average cost of $40 per dinner, I mean, it's pretty worth it. Here's a picture of the plaza. To get a room there, it's starting at $800 for one person to view the view of Central Park. A lot of cool movies have been filmed there too. Taxis are a huge life of New York City. I mean, you'll see taxis everywhere. The taxis are impossible to get around 4 to 6 p.m. just because everybody's getting out at that time. Artists are a huge life of New York City. Such shows like 30 Rock, Gossip Girl, and Law and Order are all filmed there. Central Park was built in 1856 by Frederick L. Osmelt and Calvert Box, and it took 20 years to actually make itself. And it's a great place to relax and enjoy and take a break from the city life, said Rita are back in Hornbook magazine. And it's not only just the park, it has many different statues, it has many different ways to take pictures, many ponds, many performers that are trying to perform. It's really an interesting thing. Okay, so today we talked about the history of New York, what has made it to be like the greatest city. Some buildings I visited and what's their history, what to do there, and Central Park and how the people are like there, and how much you are willing to live there, and how much it costs to live there. Okay, thank you.